So that's been a big hurdle for live stream shopping, is if you have to leave a live stream to go to a retailer website to check out and then you're missing part of the content and then go back, it hasn't been seamless or friction-free at all. And Walmart is just making that a little easier.
Hey gang, it's Monday, March 7th. Sky and listeners, welcome to the Behind the Numbers Daily, an e-marketer podcast made possible by Mountain. I am Marcus, and today I'm joined by one of our senior analysts who covers retail and e-commerce. It's Sky Canaves.
Hi Marcus, great to be here.
Hey Sky, thank you so much for hanging out. Today's fact: how would you fly through an asteroid belt? When the hell are you gonna... You're probably not going to have to do this. But
I sure hope not.
In case you do, in case you're Han Solo, keep an eye open, but it's unlikely that you're going to collide with anything. So despite what we've seen in sci-fi films, asteroid belts are typically quite desolate places. They're busy when compared to the rest of space, but they're desolate nonetheless. Generally, the gap between large asteroids, ones which could do significant damage to a spaceship, is about 2 million kilometers, or nearly 1.25 million miles. That's the gap between the asteroids in an asteroid belt, so you'll be fine. Although there are some clusters called families, which have been recently formed from a larger body, it wouldn't be too difficult to maneuver around an asteroid belt. In fact, if you picked a random course, you'd be lucky to see a single asteroid. If you want to name it, you can also name them. Some have already been named. One's called James Bond. I feel like they're not taking this seriously. The International Astronomical Union, who names these. They've got a small committee for people who name these. Robin Hood is one of them. What are they? Humpty Dumpty? What's wrong with these people? If you're ever in an asteroid belt, you'll be fine. Okay? You'll be fine. Anyway, today's real topic, live stream shopping. So Sky, we're talking all about live stream shopping today, why it's good, why it's struggling, and where it's going to go. Who's doing it well? But in mid-February, a Forbes article by Anatoly Lubinsky, founder and CEO of Golden Stream Media, said that live stream e-commerce shopping isn't the future of e-commerce, it's the present. So this gentleman has somewhat of a stake in the game, Sky, but it's an interesting way of looking at things, saying that actually, no, this isn't for later, this is for right now. Do you agree?
I think it depends on where you are. If you look at China, it's definitely a huge part of shopping and online shopping especially. Here in the US, I would say it's en route, and there's still a very long road ahead. And long term, it's going to be one path of many for e-commerce in the US rather than a China style, like superhighway as it is there. So what we see is we know many brands and retailers are pretty interested in live stream shopping just because of what they've seen happen in China, especially with the pandemic. But consumer adoption here has been a little slower.
Yeah.
So one survey of retail advertisers in December from Advertiser Perceptions found that more than 70% had at least some interest in using live stream shopping during the holidays. And we definitely saw more live stream shopping promotions during the holiday season.
What's their biggest hesitation?
For retailers, I think it's a concern about where the audience is and how to engage them appropriately and what kinds of sales they're going to get. But there's definitely a lot of interest and a lot of experimentation taking place across a variety of platforms, from retailers partnering with social media platforms to host live streams, to doing it on their own websites and apps, and working with some of the dedicated live streaming e-commerce platforms as well.
Right. And how about for consumers? What's the hang up?
For consumers, I think there has to be some incentive to watch. Here in the US, there's a long history of shopping via TV, like QVC and Home Shopping Network, which has kind of an old-fashioned or staid aura to it and is not very exciting for young consumers. In China, where live streaming really took off quickly, it was promoted heavily by the big e-commerce players, the big tech giants, and it really took off because it's where the great deals were. There were flash sales that were limited time and limited quantity, and you could only get them if you watched that live stream, and that was it.
Right. So let me flip that question. That's the hang up. Is that also the solution? The question being, what makes people want to shop via a live stream, particularly thinking about the US, because obviously China has its playbook. Is that a playbook that can be relatively easily copycatted in the US?
Well, there has to be some sort of incentive to watch a live stream wherever you are. So whether that's flash sales and limited time deals, there can be other types of incentives like giveaways and prizes, even cash, buy one, get one offers, or even promotions that are not necessarily dependent on pricing or sales, like limited edition product drops or exclusive products that are available only during a live stream. That would certainly draw shoppers.
So in February, Walmart launched 8 live stream shopping events with live stream shopping solution Talk Shop Live that lets folks interactively shop and make purchases within the video player on any embedded site. So Walmart, one of plenty of retailers kind of dabbling in this space, if you will, to varying degrees. What are the real benefits to retailers? Why would they go charging into this space?
I think it's a great way to experiment with reaching different audiences on different platforms. And it's not just about sales, but it's about engagement and establishing a more brand or retailer to consumer relationship where shoppers can interact live during the live stream. They can ask questions. They can get really detailed product information and a lot more that they could ever get from just looking on a website or app where you see text and images and maybe, if you're lucky, a little bit of video.
Right. Yeah, the engagement part, I think that's nail on the head, because there was a great piece from our China expert, Man Cheng talking about how live stream shopping took off in China during the pandemic. He cites one example of how retailers have benefited, writing, or one retailer in particular, writing, quote, "One florist said it brought new aspects of service that he hadn't experienced before. In the past, he would just sell flowers online, and that was it. But with live streaming, you're interacting with consumers who are asking you, how do I take care of this plant? Or what do I do if this happens?" He said it brought up questions that his business hadn't dealt with before, close quote. So it does seem, at least in this case, Sky, to kind of deepen the relationships with the customers.
Right, and brands and retailers can get direct feedback from consumers and really even put their own people up front in the live streams. You don't necessarily have to rely on celebrities and big name influencers to sell your products. Some of the most effective live streams can come from sales associates or even brand founders and CEOs, for example. So that's a tactic that Walmart has recently taken with its latest series and partnership with Talk Shop Live, where it's been really featuring a lot of the brand founders and CEOs. So I think they had 1 week last month that was Black-owned brands with the CEOs and founders. And then they followed that up with another week of brands that are geared towards new parents.
What are some of the best-in-class examples that you've seen of live stream shopping?
I like what Walmart is doing now with Talk Shop Live. So they had one with celebrity hairstylist Kim Kimble, who did hair for the hit show Euphoria, so it's super timely. And now with Walmart's latest partnership, you can actually shop and make the purchase while you're watching the video and not have to leave the live stream. So that's been a big hurdle for live stream shopping, is if you have to leave a live stream to go to a retailer website to check out and then you're missing part of the content and then go back, it hasn't been seamless or friction-free at all. And Walmart is just making that a little easier. I also like what the cult handbag brand Telfar is doing. They've actually launched a channel for live stream shopping and other content, but it's where they drop their new releases that always sell out. And it's a way to get people engaged with different kinds of content in order to get the handbags that they want.
You mentioned leaving the live stream to go and buy an item being a big friction point for live stream shopping. You kind of mentioned a few other things as well, but is there like a very clear second thing that's holding live stream shopping back?
I think another thing is that there just hasn't been a huge push by major players to push live streaming and get consumers to adopt it. So, for example, Amazon has had Amazon Live for a while now, but it's really struggling to gain traction. You know, if Amazon moved all the best deals for Prime Day to Amazon Live, surely consumers would follow. But Amazon Live has so far been a much smaller part of Prime Day and overall for Amazon. It's caught in a bit of a cycle. So they're struggling to get publishers on board. because the audience isn't there, and the audience isn't there because there's not enough compelling content. Shoppers don't really go to Amazon for discovery, which is what live streaming can be really good for as well.
Mm-hmm. So Sarah Fisher of Axios noted back in November of last year that social media giants are sprinting towards the live shopping market that's long been dominated by traditional TV networks like QVC and HSN, mentioned earlier. Pinterest launched a shoppable Pinterest TV late last year. Facebook has its Live Shopping Fridays series. Twitter partnered with Walmart for its first shopping live stream in November. Instagram and TikTok introduced live shopping last September, and Snapchat and Amazon rolled out their respective shoppable live streams the year before that. So a lot of activity, pretty much every platform, major platform in social, doing something relatively recently. But with all that said, do we have a sense of what share of online shopping is actually being done via live streams? Because there's a lot of headlines, there's a lot of activity, but when you break out total retail and shrink that down to online sales and shrink that down even further to the live stream portion, do we have a sense of what that figure is?
It's still pretty small, and it's going to remain a pretty small part of e-commerce overall. Some data from CoreSite Research, they put U.S. live streaming e-commerce sales at just $11 billion for 2021 and growing more than 50% this year to $17 billion. But that's still just going to be less than 2% of overall e-commerce. And even by 2024, it won't be much more than 3% of all e-commerce sales.
Okay. Because, so what's the course? So in China, we forecast China's number, China market you mentioned earlier, which is way ahead of the game. Live stream e-commerce sales in China expected to surpass 280 billion by 2023. 280 billion by 2023. That's 10 plus X those numbers that Sky was just citing. And Jackie Snow of the New York Times last year was writing about e-commerce live streams, saying that they drive about 9% of China's online market. It's about 63 billion. This is their 2019 market. So e-commerce live streams accounting for about 9% of total online sales in 2019 in China. That's still only 1% of total retail. This was according to Everbright. There are a lot of platforms out there. As I mentioned, Sky, there's some research from Magid, Axios put together, looking at the platforms used to watch live stream video, just to watch live stream video, not to shop necessarily. And in 2020, YouTube Live out in front with 38%, Facebook Live in second, 33%, Instagram 27, Twitter 16, 15 for Snapchat, Twitch had 11, etc., etc. But in terms of live stream shopping, which platforms are retailers most likely to go to, or consumers for that matter?
Well, we've seen more creators say they're more likely to work with Instagram, for example, because there is already such a strong brand presence on Instagram and the target audience is really there. I think going forward, we're going to see a lot more interest in TikTok because there's a very young audience there that's already very primed to shop on TikTok. We've seen the TikTok made me buy it viral commerce really take off over the past year. And TikTok has really been rolling out a lot more shopping features and really wants to promote shopping on TikTok as a key avenue to monetization going forward. And live streaming is going to be part of that. It's not just going to be short video.
Final question here. What in your mind is the most interesting current development in the world of live stream shopping? Something that's going on right now, or maybe is going to be happening in the next couple of months? Something to watch, perhaps?
I think Walmart's very deep commitment to live stream shopping has been interesting to see over the past year and change. Perhaps it's not entirely surprising given that they were prepared to be part of a group that was going to take over TikTok's U.S. operations when the Trump administration was campaigning against its Chinese ownership. Mm-hmm. But they've really spread themselves widely, experimenting with a variety of platforms. They've worked with TikTok. They were the first retailer to do a Twitter live stream over the holidays. And now they're working with TalkShop Live to create more scheduled, kind of more valuable content that's really bringing a lot of brand founders and CEOs to audiences. And that's really easy to shop, so you don't have to leave the live stream.
That's it for The Lead. Time now for the halftime report. Sky, if you could hit us with one or two takeaways from the first half.
I would say watch what TikTok is doing. the direction it's going in. It's got the young users who are looking for entertainment, but are also very open to product discovery and shopping on the platform, and also Walmart. And I'm interested to see how they continue to deliver higher quality content that's very easy to shop.
All right, time now for In Other News, but first a quick word from our sponsor, Mountain. If running TV ads were as easy as paid search and social, everyone would be doing it. That's where Mountain Performance TV comes in. It's the world's first and only connected TV software platform that makes television advertising as intuitive as the rest of your self-serve performance channels, with access to premium streaming networks and technology optimized to drive performance. You have a new way to drive website visits and conversions. Visit mountain.com to learn more. Folks, we are indeed back. Today in other news, retailers have big plans for same-day delivery, and how many folks plan to shop with D2C brands in 2022? Story 1. Retailers have big plans for same-day delivery, writes Dan Batum of Chain Store Age. According to the 2022 Bring Barometer, State of Retail Delivery Survey of 500 enterprise retailers in the US, UK, Canada, Germany, France, and Italy, 99% of folks said they'll be doing same-day delivery within 3 years versus the 35% able to do so today. 35 today, 99% said we've got that covered in 3 years. For those not currently offering same-day, 36% say they don't have the technology, real-time order visibility being the main problem. 24% say the distance from warehouse to fulfillment is the primary obstacle to on-time delivery, notes Mr. Batum. But Sky, the year that same-day delivery will become the norm, in your opinion, will be blank.
I'll say 2024. I'll go a little more further out. I really see 2022 as the year of same-day fulfillment. Target, in its earnings call last week, noted that last year, more than half of their online sales involved same-day services. Now that includes delivery via Shipt, as well as in-store and curbside pickup. And they plan on leaning into this more in 2022. So we already have a lot of same-day delivery for things like grocery and through membership programs like Amazon Prime and Shipt. But for it to be the norm is going to take longer. Retailers need to work out the last mile efficiencies and the costs, because consumers will still prefer to wait a couple of days for free shipping in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Deloitte found that the fulfillment methods Americans were most likely to use in the run-up to last year's holidays were standard delivery, 73%, way out in front, same day and next day, from a retailer, 47%, then it was click and collect, 33%, and curbside, 21%. Story 2. Nearly 60%, 60 of US adults bought from a D2C brand at least once in 2021. Slightly more, 65%, plan to shop with a D2C brand in 2022, according to PR agency Diffusion, writes Insider Intelligence analyst Rachel Wolf. This is a significant drop from 2020, when basically 80% of folks anticipated buying from a D2C brand in the upcoming year. When asked why people would choose a traditional retailer over a D2C brand, 40%, 40 said free shipping. Physical convenience was in second place with 32%, and product availability with 31%. Rachel notes that big box retailers are in a better position to combat shortages and shipping delays thanks to their market power and deeper pockets. But Sky, D2C's success this year, in your opinion, will be defined by blank.
I'm going to say wholesale. We know that digitally native DTC brands are finding it harder and more expensive to reach consumers online. And we've seen that as a result of Apple's app tracking transparency changes. And so working with large retailers can give them much broader reach, both online and offline. Even if it cuts into their margins somewhat, it's long-term worth it. We saw this week footwear brands Allbirds just announced that it will target wholesale this year. And I think there's also a cautionary tale in the outcome for the DTC beauty brand Glossier, which has been struggling because it chose to go it alone while its competitors partnered with bigger retailers.
Massive discrepancies within the DTC space by generation. Recent Capgemini survey found that nearly 7 in 10 Gen Zers and 6 in 10 millennials have ordered products directly from brands in the past 6 months versus 4 in 10 for the older Gen X and 2 in 10 boomers. Boomer shoppers. For those D2C buyers, 60% cite a better buying experience as a reason for purchasing directly. Slightly fewer, 59% cite, pretty much the same number, 59% cite access to brand loyalty programs. That is all we have time for you today. Thank you so much to Sky for hanging out.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you to Victoria. She edits the show. And thanks to everyone listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the Behind the Numbers Daily, the Marketer podcast made possible by Mountain.